Hail, hail. Good afternoon, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Good to see you all. On the hoops and all that good stuff. We're here. We're on the eve. We're on the precipice of perhaps our final European game of the season. Most likely our final European game of the season. I think you're all going to jump at me there to say. And we go away to Stuttgart. We're 4-1 down from the first leg. And within the next 20-25 minutes, we should get the team lines come out. So we're able to actually see who is going to play tonight. The kickoff is at 5:45. Normally we get the team sheets an hour and 15 minutes before kickoff from Celtic. Certainly that's been the kind of routine they've been in recently. So around the 4:30 mark, we're looking to get stuck into all that. Fist bumps to everyone on arrival. We've had a great week of content here on the channel. I hope you've been keeping up to date with it. And the last two streams that we've did, or the last two pieces of content we've had on the channel, how to fix Celtic's midfield and what Celtic need to do, not my opinion, not my predictions, what Celtic need to do to actually win the league is on the channel now. I don't know if you want to say evergreen, because obviously like the games that come at the weekend might change a little bit of the title picture thing, but there is a lot of forecasting, there is a lot of looking ahead in that. And no matter when you catch it, I recommend you catch them. All the comments have been brilliant. You guys seem to enjoy it. I had a lot of fun making it. We might not have as much fun today. Warning. Where to start is probably the number one thing. We've kind of had a wee glance at the team who's available. We've kind of had a wee minor cast ahead of our mind to the weekend already, with in terms of the squad. Trusty being suspended. Adamu, we've spoken about him. He's barely featured. He could start this one. I want the midfield completely rotated. I don't want McGregor to play this. I really want Bernardo, McKeown, Hatate to be the midfield three that starts. I want Murray to play over Scales. I've got the Scales t-shirt on today, which is available at Tees for Tims if you're into it, but love a bit of the Scaldini. But I don't want Murray to play at Ibrox, right? But I don't think that Ben Arthur should be coming in here and walking into that situation. Yeah, he's been brought up the road. He's been brought in on loan. I guess there was some sort of soft agreement that he was going to be brought in. But I remind you, and you'll be on this already if you've been following the channel for a length of time. I know we've had some recent subscribers joining us. But Martin O'Neill, in reference to Benjamin Arthur and Stephen Welsh, described the position as fourth choice centre-back. So if that's the case, Dane Murray's actually number 3 in a weird way, isn't he? So Trusty doesn't need rested. He's going to be suspended for the next 3 games. So there's no need to rest or protect him in any way. Not necessarily you need to do that with Scales either, but again, a rest would probably be welcome for the big man. He barely misses a game. And again, a lot of people, it's funny, I've actually been trying to keep myself across a bit more Celtic content over the last couple of days with everything that's been going on and whatnot, just curious and interested on takes and reactions and all that good stuff. And the wider kind of underbelly of still Liam Scales naysayers amongst us baffles me, truly baffles me. So I don't want him to play tonight, but it's only down to, it's the only chance you've got left to rest him, because he is going to be in the deep end, swimming pretty much by himself, you might say. Depends on your POV on Murray and Arthur and how their potential actually unfolds over the next 3 matches. So personally, that's the way I would like to see the defence kind of shape up. I would like to see Sirachi start this one also. Araujo has not travelled, so it feels like Donovan. If it's Ralston, I think that will be a big opportunity to miss. Donovan's been probably I don't want to say the hero of the Europa League, but he's probably been the main development player we've had. The main player that's came out of nowhere this season and really got some great experience that us as a club, us as Celtic fans, can kind of look at and think, yeah, he's actually done really well and can grow into the team and become something. And when it's a kid from the academy, all the sweeter, all the better. So I would very much, and he's done well away from home, by the way. I forget all the away games he's played, but I know he played that first game, especially away at Red Star. Bologna, perhaps. Oh no, I can't even remember now. Yeah, no, probably Bologna. We can go and check it. But anyway, he's had a good run in the Europa League, and I think finishing off in Germany here, although progression unlikely, with a positive result, would do the world of good for somebody like Kobe Donovan and Celtic going forward. That's what you call an investment in minutes here. And in terms of the goalkeeper, I think we all want to see Sinisalo play, don't we? So in terms of what we want, this is a defence and midfield, I think, that I don't want to speak for everyone, but I think we would probably all agree makes the most sense for all involved. In terms of the front line, it's a bit different. Tam, it's not really a resting situation, but it's kind of like, it's not really clicked. It's not really kicked in yet. He's huffing and puffing, and he's not quite blown the house down yet. Adamu's been playing Bundesliga football a lot more and a lot more recently than Big Tam. Iheanacho, again, I'm kind of hypothesizing that the deal with him is some sort of monetary based thing. And I don't know, last time he was in the squad was in Europe. So maybe if that is the case, if it is a monetary thing, and imagine he starts tonight, I think that would maybe not quite be no, it would maybe feed into some confirmation bias if there's like a clear difference in how Iheanacho has been handled domestically versus Europe. And with the last two games, that's probably something you could point to. So if he started, I think that's something to chat about. On the wings, I'm not really too sure any of the guys in air quotes need rotated. I think everyone's been well rotated to this point anyway. Our main problem is that Forrest is still quite prominent in the rotation. And again, with all due respect to Forrest and all the rest of it, but the problem we had going into January was that none of the wingers were given as Kuhn, were given as I was going to say Jota, but even Abada or even Forrest from under Ange before it was like, oh, if he scores one goal, we're happy with Forrest. He used to actually score 2 or 3 and get a couple of assists not that long ago. So between the wings, I'm really indifferent between the combination and who it is and all the rest of it. Let me see what you guys are thinking and feeling before we get the team sheets out. The next thing we've got to look at after this is the Martin O'Neill press conference. I'm sure you've seen snippets of it. I'm not going to listen to the whole thing, just the main body of the pieces. Doesn't even matter if we go through. Well, do you know, man, like going through is not something I want to spend any time talking about or really thinking about. Somebody made the joke earlier and I seen it on Monday as well. I hope it doesn't go to extra time. And I think quietly, or maybe even quite openly, I would imagine behind closed doors, Martin O'Neill and co are thinking, get through this game quickly and quietly, unscathed, and back to Glasgow, and we just move on with the season. And yes, I don't think going through, like Martin O'Neill gives it a good wee bit in the press conference and rightfully so. Fans are paying a lot of money to go and watch this team in this game, and regardless of the scoreline, regardless of everything else, there is a level of professional duty they have to the travelling support to give it everything they can for as long as they can, So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that unfolds. Scales gives me the fear, far worse than Trusty does, but they're both a car crash at times. Pork Chop Express, honestly. Fair enough, it gives you the fear. I don't think your instincts can put. Come on, man. Scales has proved himself more than enough times to be a Celtic player. Now, should he be the best centre back at the club? That's definitely a conversation I'm all about having, But again, the conversation always comes back to how much does that guy cost and where do you find him? And you quickly realise Scales is amongst the best centre backs we are going to have at the team in this generation, in this kind of era that we're in right now. Yeah, fans are not stupid. We are aware it's done for sure. But I think if you're a traveling fan, like imagine the performance is really abject and there's no effort and we just get pumped. Like, players and manager and whatever should feel guilty for that and should have a bit of ownership to that. We spoke not that long ago about Celtic should be dishing out refunds. Again, the night, let's see if there's a crazy bad result that goes our way. You know what I mean? Talk about easy wins that they're leaving on the table. Scales for me sums up our recruitment. He's good and will do, but he's not what we want. We can get so much better. We can get so much better, but what does so much better cost? And really, what is so much better? Because again, I think Trusty's grown on me throughout his Celtic career. I must say I was not enamored with the signing at first. Even last season, I wasn't overly convinced with him in lots of stages. But this year, and then bolting on last year on top of it in terms of all his good stuff, like I'm actually quite happy with Trusty. I quite like him. But what both of them don't have is ball playing ability, the way that you see. Again, you look at Bodo Glimt, which I know people are going to reference at some point, maybe not tonight, but in some content. But you look at that goal where they rip up the pitch. I seen it on my timeline. Who was it against? Maybe even like Ajax or something. It wasn't a brand new goal, but you need everyone to be like proper keen football players. We've been focusing on proper keen defenders who are happy to dominate the ball domestically, do the simple things. But in these situations, Atalanta away and all that kind of jazz, that will, put their body on the line and stop everything at all costs. So, yeah, sums up the recruitment policy is probably a great way of putting it. I think at this point, just looking at the time and how long everything is, I'm going to fire on the Martin O'Neill press conference from yesterday. Now, the first part of this that we'll listen to and probably discuss is his opinion and the take on the trusty red cardy thing. We're then going to jump ahead to Bodo Glimt, which I said we're probably going to reference. I don't know why I said we probably wouldn't get there, because we will get there, of course, but we'll take that one bit at a time. And I'm warming to Asku, says Michael. Now, I don't know how much I want to spend talking about this today. We could probably spend a stream on it, but Asku is snowballing, isn't it? The chat, everything, and I'm feeling, I can't remember who it was that said it, but some sort of prominent figure kind of mentioned it, and I thought, those people normally say things like that when they know something. I forget who it was now. But anyway, this is the opening of the press conference for this game.
Martin, I think I asked you in the wake of the match last week about the fixture itself and its timing. It's perhaps not ideal. What's the mood in the squad been like, and how have preparations been for a tie now you've got to come a long way back from?
Yeah, well, the preparations have been absolutely fine. Everybody except Julian, I think, have travelled with us. And so then we'll make decisions on the team tomorrow. But so we're looking forward to the game. And I think that we've got some travelling fans coming here who spent some money. And therefore we owe it to them.
The Hibs game on Sunday, you spoke about you'd have a little thing.
There we go. There's the kind of thing we just spoke about, which is a nice wee bridge, isn't it, to where we're going?
About what you were going to do team-wise for this one. You're not going to tell us the team, but have you left anyone at home for this one with Sunday in mind?
There's only Julian has stayed at home. The rest of everybody else has come. Yeah.
So how difficult a decision is it for you then to try and balance?
Oh, well, I'll have a little think about it. We trained this morning, and before we headed here, the lads are in really, really good form. They're the disappointment of the result and behind them, and so we'll get on with it from here on in.
Or maybe a train of thought from some support.
2 seconds, guys. There's some great stuff coming into the chat here that I just want to kind of reference. Hoopsaholic, first of all, I've got no idea what that means, so you'll need to get me up to speed unless you're chatting with somebody that's here watching the show live and loud. And by the way, guys, if you are here live and loud, smash the like button. The game previews don't live long on the internet, so the bigger we can make this, the better. So if you are tuning in, please do smash the like button. It goes a long way. If you're on mobile, you're allowed to hype 3 things a week. So again, if you have a good time here, maybe consider that as well. But Caleb Bizant is talking about Callum Wilson and Raheem Sterling. The Raheem Sterling one for me is crazy. He's went to Feyenoord. There's no way Feyenoord are paying money that Celtic can't pay. We needed a right winger. Would he? The thing with Raheem Sterling, though, is he's very much in the same boat as Oxlade-Chamberlain, where you would need to gradually kind of walk him in. And you think you've seen that so far with Feyenoord. He's only just made an appearance and he's going to be working his way back up to it. But it was a player we were linked to. You've got to think there was some sort of line of communication established or could have been opened at some point. And that will continue to be a mystery of the window. And then Bobby making some reference to Tabby, who went to Sunderland, and we've got we dodged a bullet, but a Bullavuka instead, which is funny. And then McMahon here, Scholes said on his podcast that Celtic overlooked Robbie Keane. Thought that was interesting. Suggests to me that one, he wanted the job, 2, he applied at some point. I definitely think Robbie Keane has been in discussions with Celtic at some point with these managerial changes going on, but they know the temperature of the room around him, and I think it's about biding his time. I think he's very likely to be appointed or be offered the job at some point until he maybe goes ahead of Celtic, and that's maybe something that Paul John talks about sometimes where, if Robbie Keane was to get the Tottenham job, air quotes, that's not happening, obviously, right? Wolves, whatever, something like that. Him ever coming to Celtic thereafter, whether we want him or not, it's just probably not then, on the cards for a long, long time, because, you see with managers all the time, once they've got into that upper England zone, top end championship, bottom end prem, or something even better, dare I say, they don't want to take work away from that to take themselves out of that recruitment cycle. So, anyway. Christopher Julian. Oh, got you. I'm with you, Christopher Julian. But he said Julian's not travelled with us, of course. No, Julian Araujo. Sterling is finished, but he's way better than Mvuka. Yeah, it's a free feature. When you're on mobile, See where the live chat is? Before you click to open the live chat, you should have 2 wee dots and you can swipe left and right. One brings you to the comment section if you're watching this after we've been live. One's the live chat. If it's been processed in time, takes a bit of a while after the live's been on. And then the other one is the option to hype stuff, and it'll tell you how many hype points the video already has. How no? Well, yeah, fine. It's not impossible, right? I do think that is a bit of an exception to the rule, which is actually a bit of a phrase we've discussed earlier this week already.
Supporters, because there's such a big game on Sunday, that they would maybe want to see a weakened side, for want of a better phrase, tomorrow. Is that something that's crossed your mind at all?
A weakened side.
So this is him, like, this tells me we're rotating like mad, personally.
Well, I mean, we've got very, very, very decent players here at the football club. So all players, I think, in the squad have all played in the first team. So it's not this is not a.
On this comment from Bobby, I'll let you read it. It's on screen right now, talking about Desmond and appointments and stuff. I think that's McKenna, personally.
This whatever side we put out won't be a weakened team because the players are capable of playing. And there's been competition for places since I've come in, certainly before Christmas at the time, and since we've added Thomas and a few others to the squad, so there's good competition for places.
We're rotating.
We obviously saw the quality of Stuttgart last week at Celtic Park. How big a test and big a
side, but to me it was never 4-1.
I thought he started off talking about Trusty. All this match stuff is just repetitive.
Some poor goals from our viewpoint that try and make it interesting.
How much is pride at stake as well? Because you obviously wouldn't have wanted to.
About that. And again, I go back to the point about saying when we came in, did brilliantly in Bologna with 10 men.
5:20 is when he starts to talk about the Bodo stuff. I can't imagine there's another question in there before then.
Try and win the league if you can. And every angle comes into play. That and as a manager before, but this is what you're striving for, and this will be. I'm hoping that this will be certainly the usual phrase learning curve for us anyway in times to come on.
Now brace yourself for this. I honestly, this is perspective shattering if you've not seen this already. So that I will give you a disclaimer on this. If you have not seen this and you love Martin O'Neill, and you don't want that love to be, questioned internally, it's the only way I can think of saying it. You probably best not watch this bit.
Last week, Martin, you spoke about the disparity financially between Scottish clubs, perhaps, and some of the big European nations. Does what Bodo Glimt did to Inter over the 2 legs in the Champions League give you hope that could potentially be rebalanced, if you like, addressed?
I think there's always an exception that proves the rule, like anything else.
Now, I'm not too sure that's an expression. The exception that proves the rule. It's an exception to the rule. I don't think exceptions prove rules, do they? Anyway, being pedantic, sorry.
Those are terrific efforts by them. And they've shown in European football, they have a massive advantage, first of all, in home legs because they play.
They have a massive advantage
in an artificial surface.
Bodo have a massive advantage because they play on an artificial surface. Now, this is going to continue, right? It's wild. Now, let me see. The first game of the league phase, they went away to Slavia Prague, whatever, draw. Home to Tottenham, draw. Away to Galatasaray, lose. At home to Monaco, lose. Home to Juve, lose. Away to Dortmund, draw. So how many home games did they just lose? They lost a home game to Juventus. They lost a home game to Monaco. Away result with Dortmund. At home to City. They beat City at home. Is that the only team they've beat at home? I think it is. They beat Atletico Madrid away from home. Is Man City the only home game that they won? Yeah, that's the only home game. They won one home game in the Champions League group stage out of 4. And then with Inter Milan in the knockouts that we've all just witnessed, they won at home, which is nice, and they won in the San Siro. We can look at other seasons gone by for Bodo. Yes, they have a strong home record of that, there is no doubt, but there is a no, I'm sure it plays a part, sorry, right? But that it's their home advantage is not the plastic pitch. Their home advantage is the Arctic Circle. And this is one of the things about Bodo that I think is very under-mentioned when it comes to Celtic fans discussing this, right? It's kind of, these things all jump into each other, right? Bodo Glimt produced great players, have done well, got to a semi-final of a Europa League or a Conference League, something like that. This is their first season in the Champions League. But the thing that brought them into the public view was they produced great players and they sold them all. They sold lots of players all the time for good money, and they were getting progression all the time from the Arctic Circle. What they've now done with this Champions League team is they have re-recruited for free transfers and very nominal buybacks all the guys that they sold, and they've brought them all back. Now, these are players that have been playing in Serie A, players that have been playing in the Bundesliga, England, you know, they've been all over European football, the good leagues, big clubs, all that kind of thing. And for them to go back to Bodo Glimt, to the Arctic Circle, do you think that was the best offer they got? I think I've seen something where the best player is on 40k a month. They're able to sell players for profit and bring them back to the club. Who do you think, you know, Celtic in another reality, like we could bring, let's say, Ryan Christie back from Bournemouth or something like that? Could be hell. It's just not going to happen. Why? Not even the money, but the prospect and all the rest of it. It's not as if Bodo would have been the only option for these guys that could have stayed in different clubs within these leagues, maybe even just moved down a tier, maybe moved to Holland or something like that, you know, rather than going all the way back to Norway. So their advantage, number one, is at home. But number two, they're able to take players out of the top leagues. Now, they're previous players, so there's a bit of buy-in there, a very limited field of players they can do that with, but they're bringing them back to the Arctic Circle to further their football career. Surely, Celtic has the potential to further more careers and has the potential to appeal to more players than the Arctic Circle does. And this is like money, whatever, money to one side, it's in, it's Scotland and it's the league. It's the Norwegian league we're talking about in the Arctic Circle. So don't talk to me about plastic pitches. That has like got the least amount to do with anything.
For a start. But then they go to, they travel to Inter and win the game. And win the game, I don't know what the stat was. I think somebody mentioned it coming off the plane, but it was, it was a very, very small possession. So they've taken everything, and it was a fantastic effort. It's a major shock. Inter Milan were contesting the Champions League final last year, so this is terrific, and that does give everybody a little bit of hope. Will they go on to win the competition? Well, if you get opportunities to play in an artificial surface, it does help. Let's be fair about it. Those teams who play in those surfaces, both domestically and home, do have an advantage because they play there the whole time. But is that all? No, not at all. They have shown great heart.
How many plastic pitches are in the SPFL right now? 2. Livingston and Kilmarnock. Falkirk's maybe one of them, isn't he? Falkirk's maybe got a high. Oh, look at that. Who's the bottom 2 teams in the league? Let me zoom in on that. Who's the bottom 2 teams? Oh, wow. It's the 2 teams with plastic pitches.
Showing great determination. And they've got a couple of players who can definitely play. And it does give great hope if that's the case. But again, it would be more the exception that proves the rule rather than anything else. My view.
All this was quite coherent from Martin O'Neill from start to finish. You know, he knew about the Inter Milan game. He knew about their possession. He's talking about, this felt to me so pre-prepared, in the sense, not necessarily that everything he said was scripted, but you're going to be asked about Bodo and you need to be able to shut it down as anything. For Martin O'Neill, the Celtic manager, who would have Juventus quaking in their boots and all the rest of it, that he was telling us not a week ago, to diminish the progress, the clear, tangible progress that club has made in the Arctic Circle on a shoestring budget, is not Martin. It cannot be Martin O'Neill, the football man's opinion. And this is what I said with the disclaimer beforehand. This is 100%. You're going to be asked, and this is the stance you need to take. I found it, honestly, when I heard that, I just couldn't believe it. I know I've started and spoke through it at bits, but plastic pitches. They didn't even have possession against Inter Milan. It's not as if they played well. That's what he's trying to say there. Oh, I seen they had tiny possession. Yeah, but see, when you see that they had tiny possession, a lot of the things that people are highlighting around that is that they still actually kind of not dominated the game, but it's not as if it was like backs to the wall, Jose Mourinho stuff. They still played football, but they didn't need to dominate the ball to play. That was the gist of it all. You guys are starting to tell me that the team sheet is out. I'm going to let this run for another 5-10 seconds in case it continues on this vein. Otherwise, the rest of the press conference is inert.
To Thomas, just one more from me to you there, Martin, on the match itself. Obviously, here it's a wonderful arena. It's, if nothing else, will this be a good experience for the players?
You're right, guys. The team is out. We have Sinisalo, we have Donovan, we have Murray, we have Trusty, we have Sriracha. No Bernardo. It's probably that's. I probably should have walked that one to one more step. That's probably the most logical outcome. We're going with the 3 wee guy midfield. It's been a while. Let's see if they can pull it off. And then a front three of Yang, Maeda, and Junior Adamu. Schmeichel, Scales, Ben Negren, Chvanchara, Taneke, Bernardo, Jimmy Forrest, McCardle, Iheanacho, Hatton. Hatton's actually a very good dribbler in the B team when I seen him a year ago now at this point. So doubt he's going to feature. I'd probably rather he come on the pitch before Forrest. For why nots more than anything, you know. So we kind of side note on him. That's fun. I'll also get a wee scoop around. So let's have a look at the team and how we need to update it. Bernardo out for McGregor. Not a surprise there, is it? We're going to have Rio in support. Yang is starting on the right, I suspect. Dyson on the left. And Damu through the middle. Now, Dyson played right and Yang's played left recently enough. So that's not maybe a foregone conclusion. But Trusty and Murray is a centre-back partnership that played all the way through pre-season, actually, and had a bit of... Ken Murphy just broke me there. Did you mean that to be a joke? I really hope you did. If you haven't, it's probably even funnier. But it's going to be all eyes on Sinisalo tonight. It's going to be all eyes on Dane Murray. Can you earn the jersey for the derby and for probably the meaty bit of the run in here, the next 3 games for the Hoops to get us over the line? I'm quite excited by this team. I'm hopeful that we get a Scotland McGregor, if you know what I mean. We've been talking about it in the content recently. I'm not going to rehash it too much, but that's what I want. I don't want to see McKeown. I don't want to see McKeown off the ball, roaming away too high. Let the fullbacks carry a bit of that water. Hatate is going to be second striker. I think we know that. This could be good. We could get some change. We could get some mistakes out of them. We spoke about that going into the first game, but I really do not want to see McKeown getting too far away from McGregor. They too. And again, like I think McGregor has, you know, we've kind of spoke about his role and all the rest of it, but I do think he's more in the mould in terms of how he kicks about the game right now as a Xavi rather than anything else. And the problem I've always had with Xavi is like everyone kind of holding him out there as like one of the best mids ever is, yeah, he would dominate a game and tick the ball over stuff, but he was never really like a match winner in any way or a playmaker overly. That was more of an Iniesta thing, wasn't it? And yeah, McGregor maybe is looking for the partner to do that kind of thing, but I don't want him to be Xavi, and I don't want these guys roaming around and he's got to try and we'll get cut open for fun. We really need a change of tact. You know, Hatate is going to drop in and make this a 3 quite often because he is just going to cover a lot of grass and he's going to foil the forward up here. But I do not want McKeown. If he's on the ball and we're in possession, different story. But I think him and McGregor, they need to become a bit more of, maybe have a bit more of that Xavi Iniesta mindset of stay together. It's one of my clearest memories of like seeing an opposition team come to Celtic and it sticking with me, and it was like Xavi and Iniesta, and like genuinely how they never got like more than 10 yards away from each other. They would genuinely, as a little pair like this, they would just roam around the pitch together everywhere, and everyone else could have a bit more positional freedom, but they two were getting in between people, giving and going with one another, laying in the forwards or the third man, that kind of thing. Obviously, they'd have like a big Busquets or something like that, Mascherano's and whatever behind them, blah, 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 whatever. Anyway, I want to have a peek at the Stuttgart team. I think that's the next thing we're going to try and find on the Twitter sphere here, because we know how they played last week. They played Heidenheim, who are one of the bottom teams. I forget where they are precisely in the league right now, and they didn't do too well at the weekend. I forget if they lost or drew, but it certainly didn't have a positive result. We don't have the team sheet out yet for Stuttgart. This will be interesting, and it will help flavour the imagination. Now, as I look at this squad, I think we can earn a goal. We've done it against Bologna, done it against Feyenoord. It's been a bit of a feature of our game in Europe, and I think when we've got a forward that can lead the line with good energy, Dyson, Rio and Yang, I think we can get a goal out of their defence, trying to play it out from the back. If they're any way shaped up like they were last week, I really do think we can get at them and turn the ball over from high areas. I think where we're going to be vulnerable is where I always think we're going to be vulnerable, and it's this space and then behind the defence. If I can just put a big blooming rectangle in there. Now, also the defence wouldn't be that deep in this type of situation, wouldn't be too far off, but it's this space that occurs between defence and midfield is where we very often get punished. And when you're pressing with that four in front, the positioning of these guys needs to be quite delicate and quite aware to where opposition is to make sure that that space doesn't get exploited. Because as soon as the ball goes into here, these guys need to drop back. They're then facing their own goal. They're going side on with whoever's on the ball, and then people can just play it around you dead easy, take advantage of you. That's when we see the poor defending coming out. So that zone has to be shut down. We cannot let balls go through there freely. And I know the guys aren't 12 foot tall. Diagonals is, the same, so they need kind of shut down. That space cannot be played through. If they're going over the top of us, there's obviously not much you can do with that. But again, that type of zone, we really need that crowded out. And we spoke about Dundee McKeown, Crocodile Dundee McKeown. Maybe we'll start calling them that. You've got the Stuttgart team for me here. Now, I wonder if you've got that officially, because some websites will still have a preview team if you've got it from maybe Flash Scores or Sofa Score, something like that. Oh, the team is out now. I think you've maybe got it right. I'm just going to put it on screen just to confirm here. But I've got Nubel Vanjeman Mittelstadt. Give me 2 seconds. Europa League. Stuttgart is a V at the beginning. We've got to put the badges back on. Okay, so let me see. We have on your list Vanjeman, Mittelstadt, Thomas. I think you've just copied the image. Jaquez, Karazor, Lewing, Undav, Buani, Jelch, and Kima Andres. Right, okay, so I should be able to work this out. So no Dimirovic. I don't want to move our players away, but don't really care who goes off the bench for them. No Dimirovic, no Knus, no Furyk, no Stiller. Yeah, guys, man, this is going to be one of those ones where you don't... Yeah, okay. No Hendricks either. No Assignon. So let's see. We are looking for Vanjeman, Jaquez, Karazor, Lewing, Buani, Jelch. I think that's it. We'll double check that's 11 once we've got them on. But Vanjeman played right back last week. We've got Chabot in at centre back. Jaquez, I think he'll be a defender, but I need to double check that. Karazor is in midfield. Lewing is going to be on a wing. Last week it was left. He can play right. Jelch is a centre back. So yeah, Jaquez is maybe not. Buani is going to be up front. So, and Kimes Andres is in the engine room with Karazor. So I think Jaquez is going to be a winger, or because Thomas could play in here. Thomas could play here. So I'm not too sure where this Jaquez is quite going to fit in, but I think he's going to be a winger. Or he's going to play in the front line somewhere, unless this Jelch maybe plays somewhere else, or they do something mad like play Mittelstadt in front, and maybe he's a left back. So again, Jaquez, can maybe look into him in a second. But I'm not too sure where he plays. Jaquez. He's from Switzerland. He plays for Stuttgart. He's worth 9.4 million. He's been kind of ill and out most of the season. He's been coming off the bench. Can I see a game he started? Started in the 3-1. I seen him play against Leipzig, it turns out. What position was he? Oh, he's a centre-back. Oh, interesting. So they are going 3 at the back. This would then lend itself to, so it'd be Chabot, Jelch, and Jacques, Vanyaman, and Mittelstadt. Yeah, this is a 3 at the back and a 3 up front. Maybe Thomas is wide and Buani's through the middle. That's the only thing I'm not too sure of. But this is a 5 or a 3 at the back, however you want to think of it. That really suits us, I think. Them having a 2-man midfield, if you think about how this is going to pan out, they did a very good job of just bunching this 3 in and behind the midfield and the defence. I can see them doing that again. Let me just delete, or let me press back. There we go. So I think in the midfield, this is actually going to be quite interesting because Rio can probably stand on the back line or the front line a lot more. Mittelstadt is the main man to worry about. Vanyaman will be much more of a centre-back, but you can imagine he's going to get further forward again. So the wide areas are also going to be very, very interesting. But this game is right open. This game could go really either way. Chabot kind of sweeperish at times. Damu's going to have some pockets to peel into. This game's open, by the way. Now, Kima Andres is not to be underestimated. This guy they picked up, I think, out of the Barcelona academy, but he has really shone this season. He'll be making a big transfer in the summer to either one of the top teams in Spain or the Premier League, you would think. He's getting lots of great stats and a bit of a up-and-coming wonder kid, seen by many. Karazor, we've seen him last week. You know he's going to be just that clean midfielder that kind of, rotates the ball from back to front to wide. So him and Andres in there, that's definitely much more of a solid thing. And from what we've seen with that Jelch going forward, he's probably going to be on the right. This guy could be on the left. Not too sure how that will go, but you can expect to see that kind of midfield overload from a centre-back happening. So we need to watch out for that. Rio will need to be on the swivel. Same with Adamu. So honestly, guys, I don't know if I'm non-pessimistic anymore, but I think really good luck predicting this. Mittelstadt, not to be underestimated. Don't actually think Mittelstadt featured last week, did he? No, he didn't. I can't remember who they played. Hendricks they played. So Mittelstadt is a bit of artillery. I think, yeah, you're probably more than likely going to see Vanyaman now that I think about Mittelstadt's inclusion in the team here be much more, and then maybe Lewing's going to be right, maybe. Yeah, I could see something like that happening. They're going to be interesting. They're going to be tough to figure out. I think they're going to score. I think we're going to score. The bench for us, Schmeichel's not coming off the bench. Negren, Iheanacho, Forrest, Tuneke. Scales isn't coming off the bench. You might need Tierney. I think Tuneke, depends on how the game goes, really, I think, doesn't it? Again, I wouldn't mind the wee young guy, Hatton, getting a debut. Depends on how the games went. We have some options from the bench, don't we? Other than Bernardo, there's not a centre mid amongst them. That's probably the number one consider. Oh, Micardo, but I don't think he's going to get minutes. Although I wouldn't mind it over Bernardo, to be quite frank. If Bernardo can't even feature in this game, then give the minutes to Micardo. It's kind of my POV, just to put the team sheet so you can see the bench back on screen here for you. But yeah, I think we've both got goals in us. I think this could be... I'm going to say we're going to... I'm going to go for a 1-1 draw. It could be something like 2-2, but I'm going to go for 1-1. We're just about an hour away from kickoff. Don't get carried away. Yeah, okay. They could open us up. They could open us up. But no Demirovic, no Stinger. Like, this is like their second string also. They are 4-1 up. Like, if it's a 1-1 kind of tame little joust, we're getting pummeled tonight. Yeah, maybe. I think we'll lose 3-1. Don't do it to yourself, Quinny, says Joe Milan. Same score as last week. Yeah, could be, but I don't think they're not going to be killing for it. I think a few of the individuals will want to score. Who doesn't? You know, especially if you're them, they'll be thinking, this is when I pad my stats. This is when I get another goal or two to add on to my season. They're progressing in the Europa League is their mindset. So they're going to score. They're going to try and win. I don't doubt that. I think we'll give quite good. And I think ultimately they will just give up the ghost at some point. A 1-1 or 2-2 maybe if it's a wee bit punchier. You know, if the game sparks into life early enough. Maybe the bench could be influential, maybe 2-2. I'm going to go for draw. My first gut thing was I'm going to go for 2-1, but that's just ridiculous. And I definitely didn't say that out loud. I'm going to go for a draw. I think we can do it. 1-1 or 2-2. I can see it. We're going to get a goal out of their defence. I can feel that happening. It was there last week. We never got it. We're set up to get it this week. And then just with motivation dying out in the fixture, if they go 1-0 up, we could equalise, you know. And even imagine we then equalise, we get ahead. I could see them pinning us back. Yeah, 2-2, 2-2, 2-2, 1-1. That's where I'm at. If there was to be a player that was to do something, a headline performance, I think it's all eyes on Sinisalo. I think it's all eyes on Luke McKeown. Yes, we're going to be interested in a lot of the defence, except for Trusty. Yes, we're going to be interested in a Damu, kind of the whole front, kind of everyone for their own individual reasons. But who could be the headline maker if we got a wee draw or we were plucky, you know? I think Sinisalo, because he'll need to keep the scoreline down, won't he? Yeah, that's what you guys are all telling me anyway. So yeah, Sinisalo to be the headline maker. Adamu to score. That's the only other thing I'm feeling good with. Adamu's going to get one. It might be off that mistake. It's good energy, good positioning. He's got a point to prove in Germany and for us. Adamu to score. Draw. Sinisalo, headline maker. If you've not done so already, please do hit the like button for more content like this, guys. And I don't know if I'll be back post-match. Where does Hatton play? He's a winger. When I've seen him play, he played right wing, I'm sure. Quite strong, good dribbling. Not, again, it's been a while, maybe different now, you know, but not lightning quick and on the shorter side without being a short player, just not, you know, a big build. Again, plenty of B team content out there. If you're ever bored, maybe go and listen to some of that where we talk about a lot of the players that are still in the B team, maybe some of the ones that are out on loan, and a few guys like McCardo and even Hatton that are breaking into the team. But also, by the way, Kobe Donovan is a player that we've covered on this channel for a year before he made the Celtic debut. So there's some good little nuggets that we get in there. I think it'll be 3-0 at Stuttgart. If we somehow win, Mon back on potential for some positives. Yeah. Both teams to score. Celtic W, Sriracha booked 55-1. Yeah, don't get carried away tonight, guys. And yeah, Gordon, I'm not going to read that out loud, but I have put it on screen. Undav for Chabot. Have they changed? I didn't see Undav. Oh no, Undav is there, of course. And who's not there? You said Chabot. I could have sworn I seen Chabot. Has that been edited? Yeah, that's different. I'm sure that's different. Maybe I'm wrong. But Chabot is not even in the squad. Was he suspended? If he's not suspended, I think that's just happened. So Undav's back on. Great catch. So that actually changes things a little bit. So that means there's going to be a 4 at the back again. And Undav is going to be playing off the front for sure. Again, we're not totally decided on. Yeah, my optimism for the draws maybe changed a bit now. Sorry, lads. Sorry, everyone. But yeah, that extra player in there just makes the midfield battle a bit harder. Again, they're going to be behind our midfield. That's the game they're going to try and play. I'm not too sure what sides some of these guys will live on. Against the 4 at the back, it's maybe better for us on the press. Asks a bigger question of their midfield, creates a deeper gap. This is the sort of thing I wanted to see a bit more of last week. So it diminishes a bit of the optimism I just gained. Not much of it, but just a bit. Just a wee bit. Michael, great catch, by the way. Michael, my hero. Thank you very much. They're both suspended. Okay. Maybe I just missed it then. I predict a defensive blunder in the first 5 minutes and then spending the rest of the game watching the King of Kings video instead on YouTube. Fair enough. Bot has left the chat. Is the bot's gone? Oy. Yeah, we don't get any actual team updates ever. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it shakes out. I'm not mad optimistic. I draw Sinisalo, Adamu. I've still got all that going. But yeah, maybe they do score a goal or two more than I'm maybe thinking right now. I don't rule it out. And Sinisalo, we trust. We need him to keep the score down tonight. Who do you want in the next round? Ferencvaros or something like that. I don't know. Let's cross that bridge when we come to it. We need to get here with no injuries. We aren't scoring tonight, says Skook. Oh. Do you know, and later in the game, Francis brings up a great point here. In terms of where we're chatting about the subs, in terms of later in the game, trying something a bit different would be a good opportunity to do so, and would be quite interesting. Oh wow, and Dale Robbo, if Sinisalo has a mare, do we want Duhan on Sunday? Long. Maybe need to look at his head-to-head against Rangers for Aberdeen and the few appearances that they gave him. And Cal 9428. You can tell he's in Germany and he's been in the fan zone all day. Adamu hat-trick, McKeown 90th minute winner to go through. Oh, let it be so, please. Should I cancel my hotel booking for Istanbul, John Milan? I love that. I think I would come on live for a reaction if something positive happens, like we win the game or we progress. Otherwise, I think I'll probably catch you all tomorrow. There's been a bunch of likes on the video, so thanks to everyone that's done that. If you have watched this after we've been live, really appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's a game preview, so hopefully you're here to check what the receipts were for yourself or some of your fellow boys and girls that have been tuning into the content. But we'll have something live tomorrow at 4 o'clock, whether it be the breakdown or maybe we go live for it. We'll see how it all shakes out. And then we've got derby action as of Saturday. So yeah, it's going to be a big weekend on the channel. If you've not done so already, hit the subscribe button. We are very, very close to hitting our goal of 18,888 subscribers. And if you've not hit subscribe, it's totally free. It goes a long way to supporting the channel and the content. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video today. Of course, thanks to everyone that tuned in on the chat. Leave your receipts on the internet. As I end the stream, the comment section will open. And that's where you want to leave all of these predictions for scoring, for blunders, for goal scorers, your odds on your slip, all that stuff. Have a good time if you're at the game. Stay out of trouble, and I sincerely mean it today. I always mean it, but stay out of trouble. Travel safe. Have good fun. If you're watching it at home or with friends and all the rest of it, don't take it too seriously. Let's cross our fingers and hope we get something fun. Hail, hail, and moan the hoops.